I was there. I saw how they worked with real rally drivers who were really pushing it to a limit. I mean, it was safe. It was safe, but they really pushed it to the limit.
Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Your Pass. Today I'm really excited to be joined by Daniel Brühl talking about Race for Glory, Audi v Lancia, when it's coming in theaters, digital, and on demand on January 5th, 2024. I'm going to talk to him right now. And while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. I'll spell a lot. Thank you. So thanks so much for joining me today. I've got Daniel Brühl, who already played like my favorite nemesis, frenemy in Niki Lauda and Rush, and now he is returning to the track for Race for Glory, Audi v Lancia, where he gets to be more on the management side, but still like a fun nemesis to the team. It is an exciting movie. It's coming to theaters, digital, and on demand on January 5th, 2024, and it has some racing action, some drama, and some interesting tactics. I am really excited to talk to you, so thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, man.
Of course. So first question, how did you get involved in this movie? How did you kind of get into this this world?
So Riccardo is a friend of mine, and he can be very persistent. So we wanted to do something together for a long time, and then he approached me with that project. And my first instinct was no. I said, like, I've done my bit in the racing world. I played Niki Lauda. I don't want to do another film. And he said, like, no. Wait a second. It's a smaller part. It's the Audi manager. It's not the driver. So I thought, like, okay, well, I'm gonna have a look at the script. And then I was intrigued right away because I thought, in fact, it's a different game. It's a different world. Rally is not Formula One. The 80s were beautifully captured in the script. The craziness, the sense of humor when you think of the two different mentalities, Italians versus Germans. And then Riccardo was right. There were some wonderful moments for us to play. You know, the competition, the rivalry, that dynamic that I always love, like in the film that you mentioned in Rush, that Mozart, Salieri, love, hatred, competition, jealousy, one pushing the other. This is always something that I enjoy a lot. So it was so different than to what in comparison to what I did in Rush, that I thought, like, okay, let's give it a go, and I don't regret it. I love the film.
Yeah, for sure. That was fun. It was fun to see you back on the track. I understand you, like, you've already done that before, but it was really good to see you back in this different role. And I do agree, like, it's fun to see the competition. Like it is, they are definitely competitors, but they also seem to respect each other. There is a certain like honor between them, even though they do some underhanded tactics. It's really fun to see kind of like the push and pull. And like you said, the German versus Italian mentality is really well developed in this film as also.
Yeah, and also the how do you translate the thrill of a sport to cinema? It's always a difficult task, and I think they've done a wonderful job with that. Some of these images are just fantastic. The color, the texture, the also the soundtrack, the music that keeps pushing, and I mean, I was there. I saw how they worked with real rally drivers who were really pushing it to a limit. I mean, it was safe. It was safe, but they really pushed it to the limit. So it's not one of those films where everything is, ultra cautious and careful. It was a very dynamic process. Where all of a sudden the director had an idea, oh, let's put a camera here, or let's put another one here. And so it was a very feverish a craziness also on set. And this is something that you can experience when you watch the film. There's a roughness and something very pure about it, very real. And yeah, this is the strength of the film for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And when you see, the fans and photographers in the
Yes.
track as the car's coming, like that is insane. That was all really well done. I mean, obviously very safe, but that mentality, that, like you said, that rawness is very kind of fun to see on screen.
Yeah, yeah.
So were you like a rally fan before this? Had you heard of this story before you signed on, or is this all kind of another new world for you to explore?
Well, kind of, because when I was a child, some of my family members, especially in Spain, were rally buffs. And so I remember sitting on a couch at my uncle's place with my cousins watching, rallies. And as you said, what thrilled me as a child was these cars flying by villages and people standing so close to it. This is something that as a child I thought, like, what the hell is going on here? Formula One was such a different, I was a bit more into Formula One. So this, but it was crazy. And then obviously that history of the four-wheel drive technology, Quattro, was such a success story in Germany that everybody wanted to drive an Audi Quattro. And so this became such a cool car, such an iconic car, that it was present when I was a child and a teen. It wasn't my sport. I wasn't really into it. So I learned a lot about making the film and learning a bit more about, especially about that World Cup and that competition between Lancia and Audi. But I knew enough. And also, as an actor, I've been lucky to be sponsored by Audi for a long time. Now I'm with Cupra, it's a Spanish brand. But before that, for a long time, I was with Audi. And so, of course, their Audi Quattro is their one of their prides, in their history. So at that time with Audi, I learned a bit about their rally history.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also it kind of had to be the Audi manager, right? With that sponsorship, right? You had to kind of keep that. It's almost like it was destined for you to then sign on to play this.
Exactly. That's what I said to Riccardo too. So you got me there, because it almost feels like I have to do it, since I've been with them for more than 10 years or 15 years or so. So I said, like, okay, it makes sense. I'm gonna play Gumpert.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And you represented them well. Let's switch to very quick questions about your personal driving experience. You can feel free to pass any of these, but I'm very curious, especially because you kind of grew up loving Formula One. Have you ever raced before?
Not in preparation to Rush. I did some training. It was Formula 3 that I did with some of it with Chris in England, but then on my own also in Spain. But no, not really. I was always into old cars. I had two old cars. I still have one. Always gives me a headache when I think about it, because it's always not working, and it's not driving me insane. And the other one was an Italian car. It was an Alfa Romeo that I had to sell, because it also didn't make any sense. So I was always into old timers. But man, I was sitting shotgun once in Le Mans or twice with a proper driver, within an Audi. I was sitting in a back seat of a Formula One car in Melbourne. I was, what else? So enough times to sit with a real guy to know that I would not be a good race driver, because some of these experiences were just insane. The second as you know, on the Autobahn in Germany, you can drive as fast as you want. And so when I was young, and it was safe and there was nobody out there, you also want to push it a little bit, but it's ridiculous. I mean, your instinct says brake, 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 and then these guys, it's another second and 2 and 3 seconds until they really brake. So, and your own foot, when you sit with them, goes through the car. It's like you need to brake now. So it's just you have to be made for this. To really be good at it, and this is what fascinates us all, is that, that precision, that, fearlessness. I mean, also and now it has become, thank God, so safe. That's the other thing. But when I talked to Nikki back in the days, it was just, it was so incredibly dangerous, what they did. Driving in the rain, not seeing anything. Nikki was telling me, it's just driving by ear also, and you just with almost zero visibility, driving 300 kilometers per hour. It's just it's it's insane.
Yeah, that is nuts. That is insane.
Yeah.
Really quickly, what is the fastest that you have been in a car? Because you mentioned that you've been on the Autobahn. I'm just curious how fast you've actually gone. What is your fastest speed?
Me on my own,
Yep.
I think 230, something like that.
Oof.
Kilometers. Yeah, yeah,
That,
yeah.
that's faster than I've ever been.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And also this was yeah, once I fulfilled a dream in a German little film, because then we it was all safe and blocked, you know. I would never do that when you know that whenever it becomes a danger, a potential danger for other ones, you know, you don't do that. But on a blocked stretch of an autobahn, there was a scene where I had to drive with a friend naked in a Porsche. So two Porsches racing against each other naked. And that was a wonderful scene to play.
That is awesome.
Then the
Well,
camera was covered behind me. The camera was covered by you know, a black piece of cloth. So sometimes we needed to turn around in a gas station to get to the other side of the autobahn again. And then there were some kids, and I still remember their faces, because they didn't see any film team, so they just saw that two Porsches were approaching with two naked guys. Thinking, what the hell is going on here?
That is quite
So
an
I can scratch
experience.
that on my list. And there we were quite fast as well.
I would hope so. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Well, you can see all of Daniel's racing experience come to a head in Race for Glory, Audi v Lancia, which is coming to theaters, digital, and on demand on January 5th, 2024. He plays the Audi manager, which, like we said, is kind of destined. It is a fantastic job. It's an incredible true story. And thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. That was Daniel Brühl talking about Race for Glory, Audi v Lancia, which is coming to theaters, digital, and on demand on January 5th, 2024. It is based on an incredible true story about an insane rally competition and a David versus Goliath type battle. Daniel does a really good job as the nemesis, as the villain, but you know, it's a respectful nemesis. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.